Senator Thune, what should the American people make of everything going on with the firing of Director Comey?
Well, I think people are trying to sort it all out, as are many of us. It came, of course, as a surprise. But I do think that the administration would be well served to get out there, answer these questions quickly, honestly, and move forward. Get a well-qualified nominee, somebody who is independent and objective, put forward so that people can feel confident that all the work the FBI was involved with can go forward. So I think that's the key for them. Get out there, give a more full explanation, answer these questions directly, the American people, and then get a nominee put forward that we can process up here in the Senate.
Do you believe that President Trump fired Director Comey because he was leading the investigation into whether or not there was collusion between his campaign and Russia?
I don't know, without getting into the president's head on this, I'm not sure what his rationale was. My assumption is, based on everything that we've been told in the reporting, is that the Deputy Attorney General made the recommendation to him that he do that. And there, of course, has been plenty, as you know, of support for doing something about Comey on among both Republicans and Democrats.
Switching gears here, obviously this has completely shaken Washington, D.C. Will this impact the president's ability to work on things like tax reform and health care?
Well, that's why I think the more quickly they deal with this and sort of get this behind them, the easier it'll be for them to pivot and deal with the important issues that I think the American people want to see us focused on. And so that is health care, that's tax reform, trade, regulatory reform, all the things that affect jobs in the economy. The American people want to see better paying jobs, higher wages, stronger economy, and the question ought to be, what are the policies we can put in place that will make that possible? And I think that's where the president needs to be focusing his attention. But it is important, in my view at least, for them to process very quickly this most recent distraction and get to where we can move on and talk about other things on the agenda.
And lastly, what is the status of health care? What's the timeline for when we could see some type of Senate proposal? And what's the status with tax reform? Will the House move first, or will the Senate move first?
I would guess on tax reform the House will probably move first, but there are a lot of conversations going on about that already. We're talking about that here a lot in the Senate as well. But hopefully that will sequence after health care reform. And so I'm hoping that the Senate can stay very focused on, occupied with health care for the foreseeable future, get to where we can get 50 votes for something in the Senate so that we can put a bill on the president's desk. And I think it makes tax reform easier for a couple of reasons. One, it generates momentum coming off of health care reform if we can pass it. Two, it creates a much more favorable baseline for dealing with tax reform. So, but both issues, in my judgment, we've got to get done before the end of this year.
And the status of health care?
Yeah, I think that right now we're moving forward. A lot of good conversations. We're trying to bridge the differences that we have in our conference on a couple of the key issues, but I think eventually we will get there.